thank you very much for holding tight for a moment. Like I said, we are now joined by Johnny Cyclone Weatherly, our top-notch analyst, to say the least. This guy knows a thing or two about stats. What did we just see in that game?
We saw a lot of woods. We saw a lot of woods. It was quite a slow game to start with, and there were a lot of early pink woods by Decode, which was really good, but what happened was they put them a bit too far out, and you saw TigerEye coming in and clearing them out, and even though they kept putting those woods down, like you said, they just didn't quite maintain enough control of the areas that they were looking at and slowly lost control of the jungle.
So, of course, TigerEye, we talked about them having a bit of a mid-game lull. They were then able to get a really successful fight around their first dragon pick up. So, part of that, like you just mentioned, was Decode dropping a bit of the vision around there. But what went wrong in that fight as well?
I think that Decode did a really good job of preparing the first dragon, and they had that ring of woods just behind the dragon pit, which was awesome. And then in the second fight, they just totally weren't prepared at all, and they stuck around way too long. So I think that Pune, as the lead shot caller, maybe needed to let the team know what the plan was, looking 30 seconds to a minute in advance, and then they can plan a bit further ahead and execute on that better.
All right, well, certainly some takeaways for them in that regard. What are their takeaways maybe for pick ban as well? Because that is, of course, where they're about to be headed in a few moments. What do they maybe need to change up? What did and didn't work?
They need some primary engage. They need some tools to start some fights, because at the moment they look like they want to fight and they're just not giving themselves the tools to pull the trigger.
Particularly as well, if they're going to pick something like Orianna, they need to definitely have some kind of follow-up. I would have loved to see a Nah. I mean, sure, comfort picks are a great thing, but Trundle isn't what you need to follow up into an Orianna pick. If you're picking that champion, unless it's primarily for wave clear, you actually really need to have a team fighting composition to move into it.
So on the flip side of that, TigerEye picking up that win, now potentially on track to take out a 2-0, which would put them up fairly high in the standings. What do they need to do to close that one out? What was going right?
I really liked how they were clearing the woods out really aggressively, and they kept their waves pushed a lot of the time, which meant that as soon as they won a fight, they could move forward, take some towers, and accelerate the pace of the game, through that mid-game that they were going to be weak in.
What were your standout players from TigerEye on that one? What did Decode need to be shutting down lane-wise?
I mean, I think Artiferns on Vladimir, like you said with the Ghost, he literally ran into the team at the end of the game in those last team fights. He's doing an awesome job of controlling zones in the team fights, and they need to either take the Vlad off him or pick some things that they can deal with that space control.
All right, well, with Artiferns in mind as a star player, we're going to go ahead and take another quick look at these rosters before we jump on into Champion Select. Cyclone is going to be sticking with us for a moment longer as well as we take a look at first TigerEye.